Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a great day out there. I've been kind of in a jazz mood lately, so today I'd like to share with you some of my favorite major 7th jazz lines that hopefully you can use whenever you're improvising over jazz chord changes. Most of you know there's basically 3 chord families in music. You have your major chords, your minor chords, and your 7th chords. That's excluding the miscellaneous like augmenteds and diminishes, but for right now I'm just going to stick with the major, minor, and 7th. And on this particular video we'll address the major 7th in the key of C, so that'd be C major 7th. Maybe on the next video up in this series we'll do C minor 7th, and then finally C dominant 7th. But this way you get a command on how to play over a chord individually rather than just grouping them all together and throwing it in one static key. Let's say if you're in the key of C major and you're playing a common 2-5-1, which would be you know, a common jazz progression, that would be D minor 7th, and then a G 7th, and then a C major 7th. So if you haven't had a lot of experience in playing jazz, you might just say, hey, I'm going to stay in the key of C major and play over that C major scale. But what you want to do is play over each individual chord and get command on how to spell out maybe the D minor 7th when you hear it. And then the next chord up would be like a G dominant 7th, and then I switch. So it's almost like you're playing in 3 different keys. You're not, you're playing in one key, but you're individually thinking, how do I spell out the chord that I'm hearing underneath me? So once you get command on this, your playing will excel quite a bit if you're not familiar with this style of you know, improvising. So today we'll work on C major 7th, and just stick on that. You know, we'll use a backing track here that I found on YouTube. I'll have it play after the you know, all the examples, so you can you know, try out and see what you can come up with. But as we put all these together, then we'll work on you know, like maybe the 2-5-1, so that'd be the D minor, G 7th, and C major 7th, and then you'll be able to connect these ideas over the chords as you hear them underneath you. So this will be a good approach. So hopefully you'll get something out of this lesson, and without further ado, let's get started. Thank you. Okay everyone, let's get started on this. There's a lot of lines to learn, so what I'll do is I'll play the video back and stop it on each individual line, and then I'll give you some insight of what I was thinking about, and you'll probably have to come back to this video periodically and just pick up a few licks here and there, and that's what you'll end up probably doing, because there's a lot of lines here to learn. Some of these you may already know, but hopefully I'll help some of you guys out there that don't know how to play some of these. So let's take the first line right here. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is the notes of a C major 7th chord. That would be C, E, G, that's the C chord, and then B. B is the 7th. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That's why they call it the 7th tone of the major scale. So you have a C, E, G, B, so that's what I start this lick off with. And then to show you where that is, that's the 3rd fret on the A string, that's the C, and then here's the E, this is the 2nd fret on the D string, and then the G is on the 5th fret on the D string, and then you have your B on the 4th fret on the G string. So here's your triad plus your major 7th, and then I'm going to do some chromatic walks in here. That's where you get a little bit of your jazz flair in some of these lines. You put your strong notes on your strong beats, and you throw some of these off notes, might be chromatic notes, voice leading notes, whatever you want to call it. If I'm going to a B, I might hit it from a B flat, which may be out of key, but the strong beat, maybe your downbeat would be the B note. So that off note kind of gives you a little bit of tension in there. And some of these lines just have a lot of the, the chromatics inside the triad that I'm showing you. So just learn the lines and just understand that some of these notes may be a little bit out of the key, but the strong notes are the ones that you're paying attention to. So you got C on the 3rd fret on the A string, and then you got 2nd fret on the D string, that's the E, then the 5th, and that's the G, and then here's your B on the 3rd string. So you have, and then there's your chromatic, the out of key note, but this is what's giving you a little bit of tension and jazz flair that I was talking about. So you go, you got a couple more there. So you have an F sharp on the 4th string, and then an A, which is on the 2nd fret on the G string. So here's what that was. And then you go B, 4th fret, C, 5th fret, 5th fret on the 2nd string, and then the G, which is the 3rd fret on the little string. So you have, and then continuing that would be an A, 5th fret on the little string, slid up to the 7th fret, which is a B. And then, that's kind of cool. So what we're doing there, after we slide up to that B, we have an A on the 5th fret on the little string, a G on the 2nd string on the 8th fret, and then we have the 6th fret, which is an F, and then we hit that C on the 8th fret on the little string, and then we slide from one of those tension notes or voice leadings up to the good note, which is an E, 4 to 5 on the 2nd string, that is. So we have, and then I hit, this is a D, which is the 7th fret on the G string. And then we have a C, 5th fret on the 3rd string, and then a 7th fret, which is an A on the D string. So let me review this. Okay, and then we have, I believe that's what I did. B on the G string, as we did earlier, and then we have the G again on the D string, which is the 5th fret. So we have G, and then here's an F on the 3rd fret on the D string, and then an E. I might have done a trill on the video. You don't have to do that. But I'm just trying to remember what I play here. So here's the whole line, and so there you go. There's the first line, and then you might want to take note of the swing feel that I'm giving it. So I'm going 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1, a 2. Helps out a lot too. That gives it a a jazz flair as well. Doing a swing fill, it would be kind of not as cool as if you just played it straight, as opposed to. starting on the C on the 5th string, which is the 3rd fret, and then we're sliding 5 to 7, which is a D to an E. So that's the root, sliding to the 3rd of the chord, which is E. Hopefully you remember this. And then right there we have the G again, which is the 5th of the chord, and it's also the 5th fret, going to the 7th fret, which is your A. So we got, and then we end on the root of the 3rd string, which is the 5th fret. That's a C. So we have this. And then there's a little bit of the bluesy flair here. We have a flat 5 if we were in the key of A minor, but some of these notes are like I'm using for tension. That gives you that jazz recipe. So this is going to be the 8th fret, and that's an E flat. Again, you'd be thinking, well, why don't I play an E? But some of these off notes on the off beats kind of help you, get these licks to have a little bit of, personality to them instead of just being just kind of straight all the time. So we have, kind of cool. So we have 8th fret pulled off to 7th fret, pulled off to, or you could pick that if you want. That's the C note on the 3rd string. That's the C note. And then I bounce off of this A note, which is the 7th fret on the D string, back to the 5th fret on the G string, which is a C. And then I hit that one more time, I believe. I slide it up from the 7th fret to the 9th fret. That's a D to an E. Again, the E is the 3rd of the C major 7th chord. So there you have E, 7th fret, or 9th fret rather, on the G string, and then 8th fret G, 10th fret on the 2nd string, that's an A, and then there's your root, the 8th fret on the little string. Probably most of you know that lick anyway. It's a pretty useful lick. So let's tie that together. I might have come back down there. I might have to hear this video again. Just kind of getting the gist of what I did. So you have 10, 8 on the 2nd string, back to that 9th fret on the 3rd string. That's an E. And then for rhythm, kind of do a little triplet thing there. We have a 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, a lot of those, some of those notes are not in this key, but some of them are. Some of them are just voice leadings. Chromatics are very good to use and spicing up your playing. So you have kind of a triplet fill. Might be good to alternate your picking to get that in there. So after the chromatic run, we're going to go 7, 8, 8, 9, and then a 10 on the D string. So that's a C. So we're going right down a C major chord. Right there. 8, 2nd string, 9 on the G string, and then 10 on the D string. That's the C note. And then we go back to that 9 on the G string, and that's a C, or an E rather, and then we're going to do this little chromatic run on the B string. That takes you back to G. Okay, that is. Okay, kind of snazzy lick. You got some chromatics happening there again. We're going to go 12, 11, 10. This is on the little string. You have it E, E flat, D, 10th fret. Back up to that E, which is 12th. Back to 8, which is a C. So you could have just done and lose a little bit of that jazz flair. I like these chromatics, so I would put them in and just kind of get a good handle on how to play with those chromatics inside your arpeggio notes. So here's what we got again. So 12, 11, 10, 12, 8, go to the 2nd string, 12th fret, that's the B, A, and then a G. That is 12, 10, 8 on the second string. Right here. So 12, 8, 10, and then your chromatic again on the second string. 12, 11, 10, back up to 12, back down to 8, which is you know, a G note. So you have, and then you're going to go to the 10th fret on the G string, and then I believe we're going to the 7th fret, which is a D on the G string. So we have, there's your third chromatic run here within this sequence. We're going to go 7, 8, 9. And where does that take you? That takes you up to the third note of the you know, the major triad here. We got C, E, G, so this is taking you to E, D, D sharp, E. There's your voice leading. And then you come back to your root, which is the 10th fret on the D string. We're going to go to an A on the 7th fret on the D string, and then the G on the A string, which is the 10th fret. And then that's a 7, 10 on the D string again, which is A, back up to C. And then okay, we have 7, 8, 9 on the G string, 8 on the second string, and then a 10 on the second string, that's a A note. And then we end on the 7th fret on the G string. That's a D. So there's some of your spicy notes that you can add. Your major 7th is one of them, but your 9th is another one that I said you can add. So that D is good to play over, you know, a C major 7th with that D in there. Kind of gives it some flair. So we have okay, so here we have I started on the 8th fret, that's a G note on the B string. And then I'll go to an F note, that's a 10th fret, and then I do some chromatics again. So there's your 7, 8, 9, still on the G string. So we go 2nd string, 8, 3rd string, G, G string, that would be the F, and then you do your little chromatic walk. And that is a C on the 10th fret on the D string, 7th fret on the D string as well, that's the A, and then finally the 10th fret on the A string, that's the G. So you have, and then I believe I went, so there's that line I did, I think, a little bit earlier. We slide 7 to 9 on the G string, and then the 8th fret on the B string, that's a G note, and then the 10, this is the 10, this is the A, and then there's your root, the little, you know, the C note on the 8th fret. So we go, so we have, and then I come back from a 10 to an 8, that's the G again. Okay, and then we're going to do this lick again, but rather we'll put this on the end now. There we go. So we got 8, 10, 9, 10. 8 on the D string, and then the 10th fret on the A string, and and then we go to the 9th fret on the D string, and then we're going to go to the root of the arpeggio that we're doing, which is C. That's the 10th fret. So we go. So all together. Okay, so what am I doing there? Play this. So that is, we have a D note, that's on the 10th fret on the E string. Then we're going to go. There's some of those triplets that you throw in to give it some rhythmic variation. You don't want to keep everything just the straight eighth notes. You want to put some triplets in there and whatnot. That gives you some not only tonal variations but rhythmic variations. That makes it a little bit more exciting to listen to. So that is, which is 10, 7, 8, 10. Wait. Okay, that's what I'm doing. 10, 7, 8, 10, 10 on the A string. That's a G note. And then the next note up is a 9th fret on the D string. That's a B. So we go. And then a little bit of chromatic. That is a 8, 7 on the D string. That's a B flat to an A. And then we end on the 10th fret on the A string. That's a G again. And then we're going to go 7 on the A string, 10 on the A string, and then 9 on the D string. That's a B. And then we end on the 7th fret on the G string. That's the D. And then from there we're going to go 10, 9, 8. That's just your C major chord. 10 on the D string, 9 on the G string, 8 on the B string, and that's C, E, G. So you go. I'm going to back up on each one of these. I believe I hit a 12 there. That's a B. Yeah, that's the 12th fret on the B string. That's a B. So we have. Okay, next line up. Okay, so after this, we're going to go 10, 9, 8 on the 2nd string. That's an A, B, A, G sharp, G. So that G is the 5th of the chord. Just saying. And then there's your D, which is on the little string on the 10th fret. And slide into that B, which is the major 7th of the chord. That's the B on the 7th fret on the 1st string. And then we hit a 8 and then a 10. That is a G going to an A on that 2nd string. 8, 10. So we have. So let's put that together. There's your triplet. So if I was going to move that to A, so just figure out where your root is and how you're playing over the chord, and that's how you'll move that. So let's get on to the next line up. Okay, here's one of my favorites. Here's what we got. It's 8, 7, 5 on the little string, and then the 8th fret on the 2nd string, that's a G, and then back to your A on the little string, 5th fret. Once you get to the D here, you're going to switch this lick up and go, and that's 6 on the 2nd string, that's an F, up to your root on your little string, that's the 8th fret, C, and then back to your F, and chromatically slide just from 4 to 5 right back into that E. That's your 3rd of the chord. Okay, so I believe I put that little tag on the end of that. That's 7, 5, 7. And from here, I just do another octave down and do primarily the same lick. So it's kind of a call and response, what you call a call and response. You have the call or the question, and then the response, which is a similar phrase, just an octave lower maybe. On that we're doing 3rd fret, 3rd string rather, on the 5th fret, that's a C. So we're going 5, 4, 2. 5th fret on the D string, that's the G. Back to your A on the 2nd fret on the G string, and then we go to the 5th fret on the D string, and then we go to the 3rd fret, and then we go to the 5th fret on the A string, and then we go back to that 3rd fret, which is the F, on the 3rd fret on the D string, hit the root on the G string on the 5th fret. So we go back to your F, and then do your chromatic slide from 1 to 2. That's ending on your E. So you have. Okay, so what do we have there? We got 5th fret on the D string, that's a G. So we're going to go 5, 7, switch strings to the G string, go 4, 5, 7. And then reverse order, so we're just going to go back down the notes we just went up. So 5, so we go. We're going to end on that 7, which is that A note. And then here's the little twist. It's kind of melodic. So you're starting on the 8th fret on the B string, that's a G. And then we're going to go to the 7th fret on the G string. And then we're going to go to the 5th fret on the B string, that's an E. And then the 6th fret on the B string, that's an F. And then there's your root, your 8th fret on the little string. Back to that G. And then there's your 5th fret on the little string, that's an A. And then there's your 8th fret, which is a G, on the 2nd string. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a, to start off with, so we have a 7, 8, 7, 10, 9. So after you do that little tension note there, that's the A flat, you're going to go to F, which is the 10th fret on the G string, 9, which is an E note on the G string, and then a 7 on the G string. That's you have an F, E, D. And then from there we're going to go to 10, 9, 8. So we have 10, there's your root on the D string, that's the 10th fret, that's a C. And then we go just simply up the C major chord, that's a C, E, G, 10, 9, 8, 10 on the D string, 9 on the G string, and then 8 on this B string. And then there's your 12th fret, and that's a B. And then after that we hit a 10, and then back to an 8. This is all on the B string. That's a 9 on the G string, that's an E. And then there's your 10th fret on the D string, that's a C. And then from there we're going to go a little triplet thing there. So we have a D, it's the 7th fret on the G string, and then we're going to go on the D string, we're going to go 9, 10, and then switch strings, G string was 9, 8, it's that C major triad again, up to that B again, that's the 12th fret. So we go. So that's how we do that, like. And then it's a little triplet here. You have 7, 9, 10, 8, 9, 8, up to that B. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. A lot of chromatics there on this second string. So we're going to go. And then after that we're going to go to the 8th fret, and then back to the 9th fret on the G string. And then I end on the 10th fret, that's an A. Okay, so the last lick up is actually the finale here, so we're there. Hopefully this is helping you out, taking it phrase by phrase. It's hard for me to remember exactly what I did, but it's easy to play the video back and just listen to what I did. So here's the last lick. 3, slide to 5, this is on the B string, so D, slide to E, back to that D, and then there's your C note, that's the 5th fret on the G string, and then we're going to go to the D string and hit a 6, 5, and then when we get to the 3 we're going to do a little trill here, so 3, hammer on to 5, back to 3, slide down to 2. Then we have this. Not too much to report on that. You have an 8, slide up to 10 on the second string, that's G to A. And then you're working your way to an F on the G string, that's a 10. And then a 9, 7, so that's an F, E, D. And when I get to that, I hit a G, which is that 8th fret on the second string, that's the G. And then I slide from 7 to 9, that's this sliding from D to E. Ends it, and I believe I hit a 6-9 chord on the end. If you don't know that, that is it's a 7-7-8-8, and that's kind of just a colorful way of playing a C major. It's a C 6-9 chord. So we have let me know what you want me to work on with you in the future, and it's kind of fun to do this. Hopefully I'll find an easier way of doing some of these solos for you. Okay, thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye.